I'd like to share with you an experience I had in my life that was brought to my mind again when reflecting upon these scriptures today and this call to humility. In preparation for ministry, I went and lived in Mexico for a while. And I was serving in a parish in central Mexico in the state of Michoacan. In a parish in the town of Benito Juarez, Mexico. And it's a very mountainous town, area, very forested, but steep mountains. But they still farm those hills. It's incredible how they do it. And they grow lots of corn there for those wonderful tortillas and tamales that we like to eat. And as I was serving in this parish, I got to know a man named Juan. Juan was in his early 60s, and he was still farming. And he farmed this steep property. And they keep all the rocks. Like here, we have flat land. We pick the rocks out. They keep the rocks there so the land doesn't fly away, you know. And Juan, he didn't have a lot of children, so he had to do a lot of farming by himself. And I could see he needed a hand. So I said, Juan, you need a hand? Wow, sure. So I went and worked on Juan's farm for a while. And it was at the time when we were doing fertilizing. Fertilizing there is done a little different. Here's how they fertilize. They buy big bags of fertilizer, and they dump them into buckets. And you grab that bucket, and you put your hand in and take out a handful of fertilizer and put it on the corn plant. And then walk to the next plant. Take a handful of fertilizer and put it on the plant. And we had to do that to the whole field, which is a mountain. So I come up to Juan, I'm like, Juan, let me help you. He goes, are you sure you want to help me? He says, Juan, I'd love to help you. What do I do? He says, well, grab those bags of fertilizer and carry them to the top of the mountain for me. Maybe I made a mistake. And that's what I did. And we helped Juan. Oh, it was grueling work. Can you imagine doing that? People do it around the world, do it all the time. I mean, it takes days to do this. Hand fertilizing, up and down, carrying this. And I can remember in the evenings having dinner in Juan's house with him and his wife and his daughter. We'd be sitting in this little house with a little kitchen with a window with no glass in it because it's warm down there, and a single light bulb hanging on a wire in the middle of the kitchen. Remember what those looked like? Just a light bulb on a wire. Our simple little table with a pot of soup with a chicken leg in it and a glass of homemade lemonade. If you've never had homemade lemonade, you're in for a treat. And Juan had leaned back in his chair, exhausted, and so had I. And he'd put his feet up on that windowsill when the breeze came in, and we would talk. You know what we talked about? The weather, how the crops were doing, his family. And then it hit me. And this is what I learned from Juan. And then it hit me. I thought to myself, this is life. Right here. This is the good life. The honest life. The simple, holy, hard-working life. A good end to a good day's of hard work. Enjoying the company of honest, hard-working people and a loving family. That's what came to my mind with these scriptures today. Just the simple life. It's such a beautiful thing. The simple, ordinary life. I think that's what God's reminding us. That simple life is a good life. And there's nothing wrong with having things and improving life and all that kind of stuff. I'm not against that. I'm not saying we all have to be poor. But think back in our memories. Think back to the good old days, they might call it. There's something about that simple life, isn't there? A hard day's work and the entire family gathered around a table every day. It's kind of like that life is slipping through our fingers, isn't it? Well, it doesn't have to. And I'm thankful to Juan for that wonderful example. We live in a culture that's a beautiful place, but our culture can tell us that we need more, bigger, better. At what cost? There's nothing like a good hard day's work and then dinner with your whole family around the table, talking about nothing. Wouldn't that be nice? So, I don't know why I'm sharing all that. I just think that there's something to be learned from Juan. In the midst of our lives, it can get so busy. And I don't have the answer to all that. But life can get so busy and so many things. And just hear out of these scriptures that call from God, just slow down. Make some homemade lemonade. Sit with your family and prop your feet up and talk about the weather. That's not such a bad life, is it? No, it's not so bad at all. Juan, I'm sure, is no longer with us. But if he were, I'd raise a glass to him. A good lesson for me. Just know that you're all in my prayers. I know life can be difficult and can be burdensome. And that's why we come here, to cast our burden unto Jesus. He wants to come alongside us and help us carry those big fertilizer bags of life. And He wants to take the time to walk with us and gently take care of each plant. God wants to be with us. Just give the time to let Him come alongside. And then sit down around a simple table with Jesus. That's the good life.